Hey, what's up? This is Brad with Be Real. I hang my hat on being in sales and coming from a sales profession. I haven't done one podcast on sales, so today's the day. I'm very excited about it, but also it's a little daunting because if you think about it, bro, there are millions and millions of videos, trainings on sales, greet, qualify, close, So, but I'm going to come at it from a little bit of a different angle, and I want to sound a little bit, I want to put things in perspective here. My last several years of leading a selling organization, I delivered almost $500 million a year. The last 10 years, almost $4 billion in delivered business. Over the past 10 years, I've probably helped anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 salespeople. Now, when I say that, I'm not talking about one-on-one coaching and all that. I had amazing people that were working with me, but I'm just telling you, the people that listened and the people that plugged in some of these things that I'm about ready to talk to you, they made more money. When people say, "What do you do, Brad?" I change the trajectory of people's lives. It's real simple. And that's what I'm passionate about. I want to change. I want for people that might be struggling to see success. And that's actually part of my story. If you guys don't know, that's why I'm so passionate about this now. I've always been passionate about it. But, I've been selling for 40 years. My last selling professional job that I had, I started with one pair of pants, one shirt, one tie. And I rose all the way from, I think you guys know this, but if you don't, 37 years I was homeless. Literally months without a shower. Living on the streets. So I climbed, basically envision this in your head. I went from climbing out of a dumpster to forage for food to sitting in the board of directors, executive boards. So, and I'm only sharing that with you because I need you to listen. I need you to listen with your heart. I don't need you to listen with your ears. I need you to implement some of these things. Look, you can't sit here 30 minutes and listen to me if you really are intentional about it and not find something that'll help you to improve your life, something that'll help you to improve sales. The greatest challenges make the greatest men. The greatest challenges make the greatest women. I've said that before. Very seldom, who wants to go hear somebody go, yeah, my grandpa was rich, my dad was rich, I'm rich. Ain't nobody gonna listen to that stuff. What do you always hear? What do you read books about? You read books about the person that came from nothing, the person that had, broken family, the person that have had huge setbacks. Those are the people. And so I've had that. And out of that has come experiential knowledge, experience. This is not some deal that I read out of a book. These are things of hand-to-hand combat, sales, that I've been in the trenches, that I've worked on and improved on. So let's get back. Let's go to the beginning of this deal. Greet, which I just said. There's always. I was thinking about this deal. So think about, human beings have been selling for thousands and thousands a year, bro. Before there was a spoken language, there was like, and we're selling, baby, So now I'm going to roll in here on a podcast with cameras rolling, and it's the same deal. But I just want to throw some numbers at you. That when I was in my previous job, it was called the entry experience. And we spent a lot of time as a selling organization, as a company. What is the entry experience like? If we had a location that was struggling, what did we do? We went outside and we came in. What did the customer see? And salespeople have a tendency of hurrying through this process. And people will decide within 5 to 10 seconds whether they like you or not. But that's not the most important thing. Yes, I'll cover this in a second. But the most important thing is we learned within 5 to 10 seconds of them becoming exposed to your environment, they begin to make decisions. 5 to 10 seconds with them being, exposed to your experience of you as a person, your retail experience, you as a salesperson. It's just human nature. It's just the way it is. But that's great. because actually you're from the get-go, you're moving everything that you do, everything I talk about. I feel like my greatest salespeople were the ones that were the greatest at greeting people. And that's because they figured out there's three ways to greet people. There, you acknowledge people, hey, what's up, you welcome people, and then you have a spirit of hospitality. You're like, and I always say it like this: the next time you go into an atmosphere or you go into an environment of selling, when you approach that person, there's two things I want you to focus on. Focus on as if you opened the front door of your house and somebody walks up and it's a friend you haven't seen forever. How are you going to act? You're going to be like, oh my gosh, it is so great to see you. I'm so glad to see you. And I had this other deal that was kind of laid on my heart recently, that I had a tendency of greeting people that I didn't know that well one way, and then greeting people that I've known for a long period of time a different way. And I was like, Brad, why don't you greet all of them the same? Why don't you greet everybody you know like you've known them forever? And, the greet is almost like an apology. Think about this. The greet is almost like an apology. Your job is to deliver it. How it's received you can't control it. So no matter what the response is from that person, if it's a great eye contact, there's a famous saying, the difference between you feeling like I'm manipulating you or I'm trying to help you is actually the intent of my heart. So if you go into a situation and your intent is you want to help people and your intent is you want to spread hospitality, and you know that they're starting to make decisions already, you have nothing to lose, man. You have nothing to lose. I always, this always cracks me up too. I'm getting off track here, but that's what I do, It always cracks me up here because you hire salespeople because they go into this interview and they're just this dynamic. You hire everybody. When they show up for an interview, they're so outgoing and they're so, so vibrant and, great eye contact and all this other stuff. And they got all this emotion. And when you go into the area where the salespeople are or the employees are, when they're not in front of the customers or not in front of who they're selling to, they're high-fiving, talking about the Thunder. The Dodgers won the World Series. Woo! We got this whole deal going on. And then the second they get in front of a customer, it's like, hello, what brought you in today? I'm like, bro, what just happened, man? You just went from this vibrant person that we just hired to represent our company to a mortician. That's not why you're here. That's not why people love you. What you need to do when you engage with people is you need to bring all those things why people love you, and you need to share those with people. And I'm going to go over that again. Who cares how they receive it, to be honest with you? Your job is to deliver it. And just if you deliver it in a way with good intentions, then but I'm telling you, like, I'm going to go back and just say it. The greatest greeters, the greatest people in the first 5 to 10 seconds were the greatest salespeople. They're the greatest closers because they're moving this thing in the right direction. The other thing that's so important is listening and qualifying. But when I say qualifying, I want to put it another way. It's actually a need assessment. What is their need? Let me, and I'm mostly talking to people. Yes, if you're talking to somebody on the phone, or if you're doing business to business sales, or if you're in a brick and mortar building and you're doing sales, let me just tell you, the whole world's changed. People don't shop anymore. Well, they do, but there's this new thing called the internet. So normally, by the time you get there, by the time they call you, by the time you start having human interaction, they're already heading down the road, and they know what their major need is. There's a dominant need, and that's the most important thing, and I'm going to tell you why in a second. But to find out the need, they left their house that day, or they picked up the phone to call you, or they invited you to their office because they have a need. And there's one dominant need. It could be a couple little needs, but there is something that there's a need that they're not happy with the vendor that they're currently using. There's a need that they had a price increase. If it's like a vehicle, they need a third row seat. They need lower gas mileage. If it's furniture, most people that buy a piece of furniture should have replaced that piece of furniture 3 to 5 years ago. So I want to share something else with you too, because I did a little research on this. I know that right now sales is not the easiest thing, but let me tell you something, dude. Huge challenges bring huge rewards. And the more I talk to salespeople, they're like, yeah, man, this is the toughest it's ever been. I'm like, you make any money? Oh, yeah, no, I'm making money. Because during the COVID times, during when things were exploding, money was flying everywhere, people were making a lot of money. But in my humble opinion, the greatest salespeople make the most money in the hardest of times. And so things might be hard, a little bit harder, but it doesn't mean they're not selling. This is 2024, and I've done the research on the deal. The auto industry is going to sell 16.1 vehicles this year, up 3.78%. So the estimate's anywhere from 15.7 million cars to 16.1 cars. The housing industry's flat. You're like, well, Brad, flat. Flat's up. If you're flat, you're good. I'm talking about those three big ticket items: is cars, homes, and furniture. Furniture, the first half of the year was not good. The furniture deal's picking up. So keep it in perspective. I always tell people, they're like, hey, man, boss, man, it ain't like it was in December. Yeah, bro, because it ain't December. Things change. So back to the qualifying part. And the reason you want to qualify is that customer is going to share with you everything you need to, one, help them to achieve what they came here to achieve. But let's just be real. They're going to give you every word that you need to help you to close this deal, but you got to listen. And so there's a major need. There's a major qualification. I always say I just said the greatest greeters, but really, actually, if you greet and you are hospitable and you ask good questions, great salespeople don't have all the right answers, but great salespeople have great questions that, one, helps the sales associate, and two, helps the customer to make better decisions. So find out what that major need is. And you know what? Here it comes down to this, dude. You got to ask for the business. And a large percentage of the deals that are not closed is because you didn't ask for them. And a statistic I heard, it's actually probably going up a little bit, is 85% of all sales, 80 to 85% of all sales are closed after the fifth objection has been overcome. And no, I didn't say 10 or 20% the first time you ask, 10 or 20% the second time you ask. No, bro. I said that nothing happens until you get to number 4 or 5. And when you start asking for the sale 4 or 5 times, or they have an objection, then after that fifth objection is when the customer thinks to start to buy. It's not a bad deal. That's just the way it is. People are apprehensive. People are putting a little more thought into it than what they should have. But also, people are still buying. And they always will buy from the great ones. And so you're going to have some objections. So here's what I call that deal. Why, what, and when. So when a customer says, oh, Brad, man, that's great. I love the verbal tip. Oh, man, great, Brad. Yeah, man, you're the greatest salesperson. They ain't bought, right? You're the greatest salesperson ever, man. I'm going to name my next kid after you. That's called a verbal tip. And I love the verbal tip, but at the same time, I'm trying to help them to achieve what they came there to achieve, and I got to make money. Let's just be real here. So when the customer says, all right, Brad, it's really good. Thanks. Leave that behind and leave that behind. I just need to think about it for a second. Let me give you 3. It's why, what, and when. So you just very nicely go, oh, man, I totally understand why you would think that way. Can I ask you though, just for both of us, can I ask you why? Why do you need to think about it? Why do you need to measure? Why do you need to? Because more than likely, let's just be real, more than likely it's a little bit of a stall tactic. Like I just said, the majority of people that buy a piece of furniture should have bought. So people procrastinate, right? And I'm talking about business to business procrastinate. Everybody's busy. Business to, to individuals. Everybody kind of procrastinates. So you just ask them. Just ask them why. And more than likely, like I said, if you will listen, more than likely what they're going to do is they're going to tell you why, if the real reason is why they're going to wait. And then you can work towards the next way to overcome that objection. And then, okay, so they say why, you deal with the why, you try to overcome the objection, you ask for the sale again, they say no. I really do need to go home and think about it. Here comes the what. Do you mind if I ask? What are you thinking about? And here's why I need you to think about this, ma'am, sir. Here's why I'm asking this. Let's step over here. Let me just put this in the computer for a second, because I need to know what you're going home to think about. I haven't even given you anything that would give you something, a tangible item for you to even go home and contemplate over. So the question becomes what? What is it that you're going home? So then once you go through this, you set the deal up, you put it all on a sheet of paper, you explain it all to them. What do you do next? Okay, now that you better understand this, because people are 4 times more likely to believe what they read. So that's why it's so important to get it on paper. Get them inside the building, get them to a computer. You're only doing it so that you can help them, but they can't go home with air. They have to go home. And then also, that gives you an opportunity where they're comparing apples to apples. So then they go, oh, no, I don't want you to do that. So then I need you to go to win. And what win is why I needed you to listen in the first place. The win is you go back to the primary need. When you did the need assessment, when they walk away from you, they still have that need. And more than likely, I just said they procrastinate. They still have a major need. When they walk away from you, the need did not go away. And I'm just telling you guys the deals, and, I love customers, and, but more than likely what they're telling you is something that they've been kind of trained to say. And so that you're trying to help them to not procrastinate. So then you go back all the way around, guys. Go back all the way around. Okay, here was your primary need. Here's what this was able to do. I was able to do this. I was able to do this. I was able to do this. Now that we're all here now. If today's not the day, can I ask you when? Because your need is still here. You still need a third row seat. You still need another door. You still have a child that's about ready to be in the driving age. You have to have a car. You gave your sofa to your daughter. She took it to college. You still have your primary need. You still have a dinner party. You still have company coming over. You still have a mattress that's hurting your back. So the need is still there. So, and then another thing too is just plain just ask them, hey man, is there anything I can do to save you some time to help you to make this decision today? Nobody wants to get back out. Everybody's trying to save time. Everybody's trying to maximize the amount of time that they have in a day. So what is it that I can do to help you, to save you some time so you don't have to go back through this? And I'll tell you another reason you want to do that is they will never be more excited than the first time you help them. And so you're dealing off of emotion here. You're dealing off of people being excited about what you've explained to them. And like I said, guys, I've done this a long time. They'll come, if some do come back, and I did the math on it. It was like 1% to 3% of all the people actually come back. Right? I'm not talking about referrals, but I'm talking about people that actually come back. So yeah, you have a 1 to 3% chance that they're coming back, but they're never going to be more excited about what you're trying to help them with than the first time that you talk to them. So you're just is there anything I can do to help you to save some time so that you don't have to come back and go back through this whole thing again? Now, let me tell you all this, what you're doing that you're keeping in mind. If you're sitting in an opportunity where you've gotten to this point, that person in your mind, which is sales is all mental. I say this all the time. Winning and losing in sales is not really a physical battle. It's a mental battle. So what you have to figure out and keep in mind is if you got to this point, man, you're so close. You are so close. If the whole cycle has gotten to this point, or even if you get to sit in front of people, here's the way I started thinking. If I got to sit in front of somebody and I had a true buying opportunity in front of me, my mind flipped to this. I'm going to help this person, and this person's going to buy from me. But, if they can afford an $80,000 truck, or they can afford an $80,000 car, or they can afford a $2,500 sofa, or they can afford a $3,000 mat, whatever it is that you're selling, right? Then more than likely, this is where the big switch came for me. I went from a transactional salesperson to a relationship salesperson. And so I was going to be so kind to those people. And I'm telling you this towards the end and not at the beginning, because through the whole part of this process is you have to keep in mind that this person is going to buy from you, but more than likely they have people that they can send you people. And I've had people that have worked with me, some salespeople that I've had work with me, they generated all their own leads. Other people have been doing it for so long and have been so kind to people that they get half their leads or referrals or people that are coming back and purchasing from. Man, that's the game right there. So throughout this whole process, you're keeping in mind that, one, this is a very viable customer, and this customer more than likely has several other people that they can help you, send you to. So at the whole time, you want to keep this whole relationship thing going. But like I said, so it all comes down to, are you trying to persuade them or are you trying to manipulate them? A lot of reasons that a deal doesn't get closed is the salesperson's trying to sell them harder than the customer's wanting to buy them, because they haven't given them the information that they need to be able to make the buying decision that they want to need. So that I know you're like, oh, Brad, you should have put that. No, I'm just telling you, if you're thinking about that all the way through to the end of this, then that's where you need to be. But you've got to ask, okay? And then you close the deal. Let's don't forget something, people, which is this is kind of a dying thing. I say this all the time. Kindness is your number one asset, and it's free. And that's in sales also. So once the transaction happens, once the person buys, you need to have a follow-up phone call. If you sat there the whole time and said, I care about you, I care about you, I care about you. Now they purchase from you and you make no contact with them afterwards. That's a bad plan, because you want them either old school thank you card, a text, something. Once that product is delivered to them, you need to check to satisfaction. And salespeople veer away from that deal like they're scared of something that's, no. 90% of the time the customer's happy, and 10% of the time they're not happy. You can fix it early in the game. So what ends up happening? They end up purchasing from you again, or they send somebody to you. You see what I'm saying? So I know I said I was going at this a different direction. Let me just recap this thing. People start to make decisions within seconds. No problem. Piece of cake. Because that also means that you can bring on the hospitality in very quickly and help people very quickly. Great questions. Need assessment. Find out what their need is. They're going to have objections. You really, in your mind, when they say, have whatever the objection is, you should be going, yes. Because non-buyers have no objections. Buyers have objections. So the first objection that comes out of their mouth, you should be like, yes, I have a buyer in front of me. Overcome it. Don't be fearful of it. There's an answer for it. There's always a solution. Then, okay, now we've overcome that. Now you're going to go into why. Can I ask you why? Then you're going to go into asking them what. Okay, you need me to leave this here. You need to think about it. Can I ask you, when I walk out of here, what is it you're going to think about? because that way I can help you now with some of the answers that you're going to try to come up with on your own. Then the other thing comes to is when. Is if you, because like I've said several times, there's a primary need and they still have the primary need. And I'm telling you, they don't want you to know this, but there's a deadline. They need a third row seat because a new child is coming. They need a dining room set because they got family coming. They got had several people purchase big ticket items because they're going to have back surgeries or whatever it is. So there's a deadline. So then it becomes the win, right? But at the same time, I'm just telling you, there's a reason that sales and salespeople, and you know, some of this stuff I'm sharing with you is, I say this all the time, no matter what you do, you're communicating ideas. And even if you're not in what you're considered to be sales, you're communicating ideas. And you're selling your ideas. If you're a leader, you're selling your ideas and you're getting people to buy into what you're trying to get them to do. So believe it or not, all of these things, whether you're actually in the trenches in sales, you're a salesperson. Let me tell you something. I understand I'm in a transition in my personal life, but I'm gonna tell you, some of the most thankful I am is I got a 13-year-old and she's a salesperson, and so you better be able to sell. If you're a stay-at-home mom, if you're a parent, I don't care if you're a leader, no matter where you're at, you are selling ideas, you are communicating and trying to encourage people to become better. And all of these things that I just said are going to help you. Think about this from a managerial standpoint. So then you ask them, can I ask you why? You know, can I ask you why? You know, we've talked about this a couple times. You're not able to achieve this. Why? Can I ask you, what is it that I can do as a manager to help you to be more successful? I'm not talking about outside. I'm not even talking about sales anymore. And then you ask them the time deal. When? Okay, when will you have what I need you to have so that you can be able to achieve what I'm asking you to achieve? And when you go through those things, no matter what the steps are, no matter who you're talking to, I'm just telling you guys, it's going to be hugely helpful to you. Hey, this is Brad from Be Real. Go make it a great day. Hey, just because it's hard does not mean that there's not fruit. I'm telling you, there's more fruit. I went over the statistics with you. No matter what it is, if you're a great salesperson or you're great at what you do, you're always going to be blessed. Go have a great day. This is Brad from Be Real.